we need to solve. What is the first thing we need to solve when we want to analyze the market? The step-by-step guide. What is the first thing?
Today's class is basically going to be about zones. I'm going to be explaining to you what zone is and possibly types of zone. Now, a zones are specific area or specific point in the market where you are going to actually take a reaction from. That means it can be a specific point or specific area where you're likely going to buy from or where you're likely going to sell from based on past or previous price action. That means you are simply using the previous price action to understand where you're going to make a reaction from. And your reaction could be that you want to buy from or you want to sell from. And now that's basically about two types of zone. We have one, support and resistance. I'll have two, supply and demand. Now, these are the two types of zones that we have in the forex market. We have support and resistance zones, and we have supply and demand zones. Now, I'm going to explain, or we are going to learn these things together, what support and resistance is and what supply and demand is by simply answering three questions, which is one, what are they? Two, how to identify them? And three, how to trade these zones. So we're going to understand this thing together by simply answering these three questions, and these three questions are going to give us an idea of what these two things are in this class. But before we go into that, I'd like to ask a question. Do you think support and resistance is the same as supply and demand? Drop your answer on the comment section. I'll be in the comment section. Anyone, drop it there. Let me know what you think. First, let's talk about support and resistance. What are they? How can we identify them and how do we do them? Let's start with this one. What are they? Now, in support and resistance are simply zones or area that buyers or sellers are agreeing to buy from or they are agreeing to sell from. Now, what this means is that if one buyer say I'm going to buy from this point, another one say I'm going to buy from this point, another one say I'm going to buy from this point is referred to as the support. Now, if seller say I'm going to sell from this point, another person say I'm going to sell from this point, I'm going to sell from this point is referred to as resistance. Now, the resistance and support are simply area or zone that buyers and sellers are agreeing to buy from. So if they don't agree, that point is not a supply, it's not a support or a demand zone. So what makes a support zone is that buyers are agreeing to buy from that zone, and what makes a resistance zone is that sellers are agreeing to sell from that zone. How do we identify this support and resistance zone, or how do we identify where buyers are agreeing to buy from, which is referred to as support, and where sellers are agreeing to sell from, which is referred to as resistance? That leads us to the next question, identifying support and resistance. Now, how do we identify this zone? Now, for us to identify where buyers are agreeing to buy from or where sellers are agreeing to buy from, we simply need to understand that you have to identify 2 points or 2 or 3 points where sellers say we're going to buy from or where buyers say we're going to buy from. For instance, if price is an uptrend, price is moving like this, it's an uptrend. Now, for us to be able to identify support and resistance, we simply need to point 2 or 3 places where buyers are where buyers are buying from, and 2 or 3 places where sellers are selling from. And how do we identify them here? Buyers are willing to buy from this point, they are willing to buy from this point, they are willing to buy from this point, and they are willing to buy from this point. Sellers are willing to sell from here, sell from here, sell from here, sell from here. So how do we identify this supply zone? By saying this support zone, by simply connecting this point that are willing to buy from and connecting this point that are willing to sell from. Now, this point become our resistance and this point become our support. So we need to identify 2 or 3 places where buyers are buying from and connect them with our trend line. Now, this line is based on our trend line. Now, for instance, if price is in a downtrend, price is going like this. Where are buyers willing to buy from? Here, 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 here. Connect them. This refers to our what? Support. Where are sellers willing to sell from? Here, 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 and here. What do we do? Connect them with our trend line. This is our resistance. Support and resistance. For every support, there is always resistance. For instance, if price is ranging, price is going like this. Where are buyers willing to buy from? 1, 2, 3, 4. Sellers will call 1, 2, 3, 4. So what do? We connect them with our trend line. These are our resistance, and now these are our support. Is that clear? Yes, it's clear. Now, you have to bear in mind that a support can turn to a resistance, and a resistance can turn to a support. For instance, if market is ranging, support, resistance. Now, if market go below a resistance and come back to that if market go below a support and come back to that support zone and continue. Now, price is actually a support here, but now price has become a resistance. So support turns to resistance. Another example, if price is always selling from this point, but when price comes to this point, came back to this point here, price broke above this resistance and came back here and protected the uptrend. This point was a resistance, but here it was support. So support can turn to resistance and resistance can turn to support. Let me give you another example. If price is in a downtrend and price is acting as a support here, resistance here, and price broke below this point and came back here and went down, this point has become a resistance and here support. Same thing goes with this point. If price comes to this point, break this point and come back and continue, this point is a resistance, but here is support. So price can always turn to support and support can turn to resistance. Is that clear? Yes. Now, how do we trade this support and resistance? That is the next question. For us to be able to trade support and resistance, we simply need to understand one principle, which is very simple. Buy from support and sell from resistance. This is the way to trade support and resistance in the forex market. You want to always buy from support zone and you want to resell from the resistance zone. For instance, if here's my resistance, here's my support. You want to always buy from this point and sell from this point. Buy from this point and sell from this point. So you are always buying from support and selling from the resistance. That is how to trade this support and resistance. Now, we have been able to answer these 3 questions about what is support and resistance by simply telling you that support and resistance are simply zones where buyers and sellers are agreeing to buy from or agreeing to sell from. And now, for you to be able to identify it, you simply need to identify 2 points where buyers are willing to buy from and connect them together. It becomes a support and as well becomes a resistance. Now, I've told you that for you to be able to trade it, you simply need to understand that you need to buy from support and as well sell from support. Let's go to the second one, which is supply and demand. Now, for us to understand supply and demand, we simply need to follow this principle here, which is what are they? How do we identify them and how do we trade supply and demand frame? Now, first, let's talk about what supply and demand zone is. The supply zone are simply zones where sales order or where there are large sales order that need to be triggered into the market. That means any zone or any area that is possible large sales order that needs to be triggered into the market, that area of zone is referred to as supply zone. And any zone or any area that there is large order of demand order that needs to be triggered into the market is referred to as demand zone. Now, for us to be able to identify supply and demand zone, we simply need to understand types of supply and demand zone, and as well, for us to be able to trade supply and demand zone, we simply need to understand the concept of supply and demand zone. I'm not going to go into details in this video. In my subsequent video, I'm likely going to explain all of these things, type of supply and demand, process of supply and demand, and be able to show you how to identify it, and as well how to trade supply and demand. this will be the end of this video. I'm going to see you in my subscribe videos. If you find the video very helpful, like to subscribe, drop a comment, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.